Today I'll be talking about search engine optimization in Drupal 9. But before I get started, I want to say thank you to the organizers of CMS Africa Summit. Also want to say thank you to our title sponsor Google and all the other sponsors for putting together this event. It's always great to have this type of events for people from around the continent to share their experiences and also share their knowledge. So yeah, who am I? My name is Tolu. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Transita. We're a tech mobility startup. I'm also a Accra certified Grandmaster. Feel free to reach out to me in any of these mediums or links, my LinkedIn or my Drupal.org profile. We can have a chat about maybe what we speak about here today or about anything regarding Drupal. I'm always open for a chat. Transita. Transita, like I said, we're a tech mobility startup. We currently sell intercity bus trips across multiple transport service providers. So search is very critical to our business for generating demand for these transporters. And so having an application that's optimized for search is really critical for us. So that's why I'm trying to share my experience for optimizing our Drupal 9 web application for search, and hopefully you can pick some things that we did. Today's agenda, I'll be talking about how search works, how your site shows up on Google. Also, I'm talking about improving your searchability, some things you can add to your site to make it more search friendly and more crawler friendly. And then finally, we're talking about some helpful tools that you can use to diagnose your site for anything that might be causing it not to show up or rank properly in the search. That's our agenda for today. Let's dive right in. How search works. Basically, the reason why your site shows up on the Google search is because Google has these bots called crawlers. Crawlers named the Google bot, to be specific, which kind of go around the internet, going from site to site, link to link, and then updating the Google index. And so ever so often, the bots go out and gather new information or update information they already have on your site. And Google bot uses an algorithm, so the bots are smart to kind of determine, how often to crawl your site, how many pages it should fetch from your site, and basically, your search score. So we'll be touching a little bit deeper on this. But what I wanted to show you guys is, so for example, we have our example site here, and this is how you see a website. You see a fantastic homepage with images and all of that good stuff going on. But the way the Google bot sees your site, again, it's more rudimentary. So I'll kind of give you a view. So this is how the Google bot kind of sees your site. Yeah, it's looking directly at the markup, the markup beneath the website. And so you can see that this is a lot for the Google bot to process and try to make sense of as what it's looking at currently. And so we have to, make it easier for the bot to know what exactly is looking at on the page, what exactly is the information this page is trying to pass across, and what the Google bot should take from it, etc. So let's just jump back here. And then if you're worried that, okay, this Google bot is just kind of crawling my site, do I have any control over what the bot sees or what the bot shouldn't see? And yes, there is a way to control what the Google bot can index on your site and what it shouldn't, and that is called the robots.txt file. And so I'll be flashing here an example of robots.txt file for Drupal. And you can see here it's a pretty straightforward file where you can tell Google, allow the robots to crawl these particular paths or these particular files with extensions, and you can also tell the bots to disallow the crawling of particular folders that are more sensitive or paths that are more sensitive, like the admin panel or the user pages. You don't want the Google bots crawling that information. So so with the robots.txt file, you're able to tell Google, hey, index this, hey, do not index this. So yeah, it's pretty powerful file, especially for search, and then also for security of your information as well. Okay. All right. So now we know that how Google sees our site. We also know how to tell Google what to search or not what to search. Further now, we're going to talk about how to improve your searchability, how to improve Google's ability to search your site and also get the useful information that you're trying to pass across in the site. And as always in Drupal, there's a module for that. So without any lines of code, you're able to optimize your website in Drupal for search. And for those that are not familiar with the lingo of module, maybe if you're coming from Joomla or you're coming from WordPress, in the WordPress speak, this will be plugins. And so there's a module for that. And what is a module? A module is a set of PHP, JavaScript, and CSS files that you can add to your site on a kind of plug and play. So meaning that this set of functionalities become available when you enable the module, and you can also uninstall the module, which means that the functionality no longer exists. So there's kind of an encapsulated piece of functionality that's contained within that module. I like to think of modules as building blocks. Which means you can add as many modules as you need to achieve what you need to do, and you can add them add your module in any way or any fashion, and kind of build your site the way you want it. So think about it as little Lego blocks that you can use to form any type of structure you want. But more specifically, the modules we'll be talking about for search optimization, I will be looking at the simple sitemap. Also look at meta tags, schema meta tags, and then also AMP module. And these modules implemented on your site would kind of help to improve your searchability, and I'll show you how, kind of like a show and tell. And so let's jump into it quickly. So right now you're looking at our demo site. It's a food magazine. We're sharing recipes. I'm also sharing helpful articles to our people, and we want this magazine to show up in the search. We want people to find some of the best recipes that we've been gathering over the over the course of this conference. But yeah, so what can we do here? So you're looking at the front page of your Drupal site, and so first thing we'll talk about is the sitemap. So basically, what is the sitemap? A sitemap is an XML file, and let me show you guys quickly. A sitemap is an XML file that kind of tells the Google crawlers the pages that you want it to crawl. What are some of the links on the site are kind of all exposed in this way, so the bot knows, okay, these are all the pages, these are all the canonical links on the site, and you can kind of go through and then index these pages. You can also tell it how the priorities of these pages, and also how frequently it should come and index the particular pages for change of information. So you can tell the Google bot to come back daily, you can tell it to come back weekly or yearly. It depends on how often the information changes. But here, yeah, this is an example of a simple sitemap. And yeah, how you would add this to your site. So if you go back here, we're using the module called the simple sitemap module. And what the sitemap module does is it just helps to index your site. So you're able to build your index, which kind of goes through the site, gets all the links, and then puts together that XML file. Also, what this does, it also helps to submit your site to Google. So once it's done indexing, it would also submit the site to Google as well. So yeah, that's simple sitemap, pretty straightforward. You would just have to install it the way you would install any other Drupal module, and then boom, you have sitemap being generated. And then you can also submit this sitemap to the Google Search Console, which kind of tells Google and alerts the Google bot, hey, I have a sitemap over here I want you to crawl at a specific interval. So you just kind of get in the Google bot's attention, and Google is going to be like, hey, yeah, we see your sitemap. I will get to you momentarily, and then boom, your content gets indexed by Googlebot. All right. So next, I want to talk about meta tags. So we're discussing earlier about how Google views your site. So there are also some helpful meta tags which kind of rest in the head of the HTML tag. Again, for those that are not familiar with coding speak, again, it's better for me to show you. So let's quickly look at a particular article. Okay, so we're looking at the deep Mediterranean quiche, and so we see this again, ingredients, recipe, instruction for making the food, and all of that good stuff. But the way Google is going to see this page, again, we need to make the information available for Google very, very easy from the beginning. So meta tags help us to send some hints to the Google bots or crawlers. What are some things you need to focus on? For example, a meta tag that's important is the keywords meta tag, which kind of shows keywords that are important in the recipe that we're looking at right now. So we can see that this is a pastry. Also has egg as one of the keywords. Another important meta tag to note, maybe not particular meta tag, but also the canonical. So we're telling the Google bot what the direct link to this article is. So Google uses, or the Google bot uses this particular canonical link to identify that this is the place to get this content anywhere on the web. And so we've kind of established that this is our canonical link, and this link represents the information that we see on this page. Another interesting thing that you're probably seeing here is structured content. And for those of us that are not familiar with structured content, so when I showed you earlier, you can see that this is all jumbled up information. Now Googlebot is smart enough to kind of look at all of this markup you're looking at here and be like, hey, I assume that this is talking about a recipe, but I'm not really sure. Again, it's smarter. Maybe it would know it's talking about recipes based on based on crawling this page. But again, you kind of have to be explicit, and so how you're being explicit is through structured content. This helps Google to know exactly the information it should take from the page. So you've provided the structured content, and so let's dive in. We've said that this page is a type recipe. Now this whole thing again is standardized. So there's set rules are standardized across the industry of what what a recipe should be, or what are the important fields to provide when talking about the recipe. And so we just take advantage of that standardized schema, and then let Google know about the information. So for this recipe, we already know that it's a deep Mediterranean quiche. They were passing to the bot, or displaying for the bot to come see what when it's published. Some of the recipes, some instructions, also the image that represents this recipe. All that is all here, and Googlebot understands this. And so I'm not going to dive too deeply into structured content, but another advantage of structured content is that it also helps your search appearance. And what I mean by that is, if I Google, for example, a chicken soup recipe, you would see right away, you'll see this search appearance that says, okay, this is the image, this is the title, this is the rating for this particular recipe, and this kind of shows up above every other search result. And so one thing we can take advantage of is, for it to show up very high up in the search, we could take advantage of structured content, because Google is 100% sure what it's looking at, and so it can put you and rank you way up this way, and that way also helps how you show up in the search. You know, your search ranking is very important because you showing up here as the de facto source of information for chicken soup recipe kind of helps to drive a lot of traffic to your site. And then, if you are, maybe selling some other stuff, if you are an e-commerce business, it's very important for you to have traffic coming in. And also, it's also very important for you to have traffic that you're not paying for as well to come in. And so those are called organic traffic. And again, the best way to have organic traffic is for you to have a very, very good search optimized website. All right. So how do we, how do we get our site to, have structured content, have the right meta tags? It's pretty simple. You just install the modules. Like I said, there's a module for that. So the module we installed here are the meta tag module, and I'm going to walk you guys through it right now. So we go to site configurations, and then we go to meta tag. And so the way this is structured is that again, we have the global meta tags that are applied to all pages, and then we have the ones that are applied to the front page. But the way it kind of trickles down is that everything that's you put in the the type below it is kind of inherited from above. So for example, if you look here, the site URL is inherited, the short link is inherited from global. So whatever you put here gets automatically inherited, except you overwrite it. And so for example here, we want all the pages to just be the current page title and then the site name. But for here on the home page, I want to be specific and say, hey, we want to change the title of the home page to say yum, best recipes ever. Again, this the effect that comes through is if we're looking at our homepage, you can see the title here. Specific to the homepage says yum, best recipes ever. But for other pages, it will just go back to the global title name and then global site name as well. And so yeah, that's how meta tags work. Most of this stuff is usually pre-configured for you, and so you should be able to usually just install the meta tag module and be happy with what you get. But again, there's some things that you can also do to make it more search friendly. And so, for example, if we look at a recipe, for example, I can see that in the meta tags for the keywords that we want the search engine to look for, we put in the field tags. And so any tags that we set in for this particular recipe, I want all the tags to show up in as keywords. And so how this shows up is here. If you look the keywords meta tag, you'll see that again this is how that gets here. So this is the tags from the article showing up here as keywords in the meta tag. What else? Yeah, we talked a little bit about structured content, and let me show you guys what this looks like. So since we're talking about recipes, again, that's why it's always good to let through structured content and JSON LD, we're able to see an exhaustive list of schemas that we can use and kind of see the schema. We'll see the schema type, but again, this is all the information that you could find. But to get this in Drupal, so we're defining our schema. But again, so for those of us not familiar with tokens, basically tokens are, I would say, they are like replaceable fields from us coming from the WordPress world. You can think of tokens as like short tags. And so again, here we're printing dynamically. The title is always going to be this name field here. The description, this is coming from the body field. Again, the cuisine, the category, and so on and so forth. Cooking time coming from the field cooking time. So we're able to kind of specify what Drupal fields map to the structured content fields. And again, we can do all of this with no coding, and then we can just also specify, the image that represents this recipe, and then we choose an image for that, and that also gets added to structured content output. And yeah, so that's how we're once you fill in that form, you're able to get very good structured content, and we're able to verify this. And again, the Google bot has no doubt exactly what it is looking at, and is able to properly index you and properly show you in the search. Properly show you in the search here. All right, what do we else do need to talk about for optimizing SEO? Let's talk a little bit about accelerated mobile pages. AMP is a fantastic initiative with Google and publishers, where they came together and said, hey, how can we increase or improve the mobile experience? And the one of the most important factors for improving mobile experience is really speed, how fast you're able to show your article and able to show your pages, and how mobile friendly these pages are. And so yeah, to make our our recipe stroke food magazine mobile friendly, we've installed the AMP module as well. Again, links are in the slide, in the previous slide, which I'm going to make available for you to go check out this module yourself. But what the AMP module does basically is it basically creates a different view of your content specifically for mobile, which is mobile optimized. And let me show you an example. And usually this is really good for publishing. And so in terms of articles, AMP kind of comes in to kind of make mobile friendly articles. So what does that mean? So if we look at this website here, we have the video at the top. We have some good call to action, some quotes, some images, all very great. But for mobile, this might not be the best, especially because of the video. So with the AMP module installed, again, I can show you what this will look like in AMP. And so after this, let's put this thing to the end of the URL, and then boom, you see that we get the more mobile version, mobile optimized version, which it strips out unnecessary styles, strips out things that we don't want to show up in mobile, but still give a very good reading experience, specifically for mobile. Unfortunately, we're looking at this on the desktop, but this would be a much more simpler, focused view on your mobile. And so, how do we do this? I'll show you in a sec. But the AMP modules, the AMP module again just works right out of the box to give you AMP pages. And so, how I'm able to achieve this is so the AMP module. Let's take a look at that. So we go to configuration, and then we go to AMP settings. And then you see here I've enabled AMP for, and the things you can choose are the particular types of content you want to enable AMP for. And so again, this is specific for articles. And if I click configure here, you'll see that in the AMP view mode, I'm able to decide, specifically for AMP, I'm able to decide, what shows up, what doesn't show up. Pretty easily. If I did not want images to show up on the AMP page, I could as well just remove this. So I don't want any images showing up and delaying my loading. I click save here, and then if I go back to my article, let's go and load this. Okay, we're looking at the web version. With all this good media, pictures and stuff. If I should go to the AMP version, you'll see now it's just no video, no images, just straight text. So yeah, that's the power of AMP, power of the AMP module as well in Drupal. All pretty straightforward, all pretty easy to set up and install. But again, big performance boosts for your search, especially for Googlebot and Googlebot Mobile. All right, what else do I need to cover? Yeah, so apart from improving your searchability, telling Google which links to crawl, providing mobile friendly pages. One thing you can do to kind of improve your searchability as well is to just have a good website that's mobile friendly. Again, your website being mobile friendly, it's a big thing for big thing for search. Mobile site being mobile friendly has become the standard. So make sure your site is mobile friendly. It will definitely increase your search score. What else? Also want to make sure that your site is performant in terms of speed, in terms of largest content paint, in terms of how putting alt tags in your images, making sure that all images have alt tags, making sure that they're accessible. These are things that you have to go through just improving the page experience, which in turn improves your search score. But in terms of Drupal, how can we make things faster? How can we make things great? How can we make the site as fast as possible? But again, good news. With the Drupal 9, again, there's this fast out of the box initiative. So the moment you install a Drupal 9 site, it's going to take advantage of all the caching, take advantage of all the performance improvements. You can take advantage of a lot of that outside of the box without doing any type of specific tuning. It's fast out of the box. And so, but one page we can use to control how all of this works. Again, we're looking at the performance page. And again, caching. Caching, again, this depends on how often your content changes. If you're a new site that releases articles more than once in a day, maybe 3-4 times a day, you definitely want to reduce the time that your site is cached, maybe down to an hour, maybe down to 30 minutes, really up to you and your use case. But for this personal blogging magazine of mine, maybe I post once a day, so 3 hours I think it's fine. Also, one thing that's going to help, and which we see in audits, is that they want your CSS aggregated. They want your JavaScript files also aggregated as well. This reduces the amount of time it takes for the site to load all of these resources that it needs to show. Kind of aggregates them down to one file and minifies them. This improves your site performance significantly. And so again, Drupal does this out of the box for us. We can just turn on aggregation, turn on caching, and boom, you're good to go, and you're going to have a good page experience in terms of speed. All right, let's jump back to our slides here. All right, so we've talked about how search works, how the Google and the Googlebot sees our sites. We've also talked about some helpful modules in Drupal that helps to improve SEO. And finally, we're going to talk about some third-party or external tools that we can use to also kind of diagnose our sites and kind of look for improvements as well. And so some of these tools we'll be looking at momentarily. So other SEO tools, I like to think of them as kind of getting like a diagnosis. You can put in your search URL and it's going to tell you everything that you need to do in terms of improvements that's going to help you rank better in the search. And the most important tool for ranking in the Google search is your Google Search Console. Google Search Console has a plethora of different tools to use. There's the URL inspection tool, there's the page insights tool, and there's tools to help you check your core web vitals. All of everything that goes to how you're ranked, as to what keywords are the ones that are reaching your site. All of that is all contained within the Google Search Console. So I encourage you to verify your site with the Google Webmaster and start using Google Console today. It's pretty straightforward. I won't be going into Console, but it's something you definitely want to check out as well. Another tool that we can talk about is the Google Lighthouse. And so let me give you an example of how Google Lighthouse works. So let's go to one of our articles. All right. So with the Google Lighthouse, I'm able to inspect Let me pull this up for you to see here. So here you're looking at my Chrome developer tools. So I have this Google Lighthouse here, and here I'm able to generate a report of my site, of the page we're looking at. And so let's wait for Lighthouse to do its thing. Yeah, so basically awesome. So again, it looks like Chrome extensions negatively affected the performance. Okay, you know what? We're gonna try doing this in incognito so we can get better results. Those ones looked very poor. But let's go here. So this is a new incognito window. Okay. Okay. So we go to Lighthouse, generate the reports. So it's always good to generate your Lighthouse reports in incognito window because, Chrome and Chrome DevTools. If you're like me that uses a lot of Chrome extensions, yeah, you would see that this is much better. As you can see here, our performance is everything that we have here. It's kind of off the charts. You see, Google's telling us about our first contentful paint, our speed index, how fast it's loading it in mobile. Again, everything is looking up and up. Again, some diagnostic things that we can fix, like making sure that all the images have explicit width and height. Make sure that they also have alt tags. That's also very important. Again, it's talking about caching policies. But again, this is all stuff that you can look at, or you can have a developer look at, and that can always improve. There's always room for improvement, always. So yeah, so. But very, very satisfied with these results. We are scoring A's in all the important categories. But yeah, so this is the Lighthouse tool. Why I like this is that this one works locally. As you can see, this site is not hosted anywhere on the internet. It's just on my computer. So I'm able to kind of, as a developer, know some of the issues with my site in terms to SEO without deploying the site to the internet first and finding out. I'm able to kind of use Google's best practice checks to make sure that we're doing everything the right way. So Lighthouse is definitely one that I would recommend for SEO optimization. What other tools could we talk about? Let's talk about page speed insights. So let me just see what do I want to get here. So if your site is live on the internet, you can also just quickly, put in your URL here and get a complete audit of, what's going on with your site. Again, all of this stuff is, it's pretty. They always have very good explanations as to why they're giving you the score and things that you can improve. You can always run the audit, fix things, run the audit again, and just to make sure that you're having scores that are that are in the 90s to the 100s. Even the 50s to the 85, 89th is good, but just make sure that you're not below 50, because then you're not going to really appear very highly in search. But this is the okay region. This is the fantastic region, and it's always it's always good to be in the fantastic region. What other tools can we talk about? Let's talk about the mobile friendly test. Again, like I said, having a URL that's mobile friendly definitely helps with your search. So you can always come and use this tool to analyze your site for how mobile friendly your site really is. So just another tool for testing, and you can see here, boom, the site is mobile friendly, so you shouldn't have any issues with the search bots or anything like that if your site is mobile friendly, which is amazing. And then finally, let's talk a little bit about the wave evaluation tool. So this tool kind of helps to check, for accessibility, making sure that your images have alt tags, making sure that your markup is semantic, making sure that you have a H1 tag, you have a H2 tag, you're using headers the right way. Also, make sure that you're also considering accessibility, which is very important. So let's just see. Let's do this here. So what the Wave tool does is also just kind of looks at your site, looks at all the markups, and kind of suggests improvements. Letting okay, this has the right area tags for accessibility. This has the right alt tags, so no issues here. But it also, as you can see, there's some complaints here. So let's take a look. So this is complaining that you have some low contrast text. If you see here, it's dark gray or light gray. The accessibility tool doesn't like that because it might be difficult for people with color blindness to see that information. So yeah, so this tool kind of helps to to see some of these issues and also helping to fix them, to be honest. All right, so that's the Wave accessibility tool. You can always get it either by running it on the Wave website, or you can actually also run this on your local computer. Again, if you haven't deployed your site, let me see if I have the Wave. So again, you can always run this on a site that's hosted locally as a developer, for you to kind of see what the errors are locally and kind of fix them before you go up to the server. Again, all good. Jump to the errors, and then you can always fix them. One language missing or invalid, empty link. Okay, no time to go through that now, but again, always good to have a good auditing tool. Again, this also helps you test how semantic your markup is without any styles. Make sure that everything is readable even without fancy styles or JavaScript. Yeah. All right. So these are some tools. Again, like I said, I'll share the slides if you want to come back and see what some of these tools, use them, and also even run the audits on your sites to know whether you do need SEO optimizations. Feel free to use some of these tools to test. Awesome. All right, we've come to the end of this talk. I appreciate you guys having me here. It's a great time being part of this conference. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be around at the conference speaking with people. So thanks. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks, guys.